Welcome to today's program, one of many offered by your UC Alumni Association. Before we begin, it's important for me to say thank you for joining us. By actively participating in our offerings and experiences, you are harnessing the power of your alumni network. There are Bearcats all over the world, more than 315,000 alumni in 127 countries, which makes virtual programs like this so rewarding. These challenging times do come with a silver lining. We are more connected than ever before, creating boundless opportunities. The University of Cincinnati and each of you is stronger and better positioned because of our lifelong connections through our alma mater. We love providing opportunities like this one, where alumni can learn, network, and give back. So settle in and enjoy today's program. And if you like what you hear today, please share it on social media using the hashtag #ThyLoyalChildren. Thanks again for joining us. Go Bearcats!
CCM Choral Alumni. I will say what Jamie didn't. It's 8 o'clock where I am, and it's probably evening where you are. So if you have a beverage that's handy, in the great CCM choral tradition, you go right ahead and enjoy your favorite beverage. Earl is smiling. Brett is smiling. Joe is drinking something out of a coffee mug that is suspect. So, you enjoy yourself, and cheers to all of you. At CCM, we are in the 9th week of fall semester, and I have to say, it's going really well. The University of Cincinnati set yet another enrollment record this year. We have almost 47,000 students enrolled at UC, and CCM enrollment is similarly strong. We are just at over 1,400 students at CCM, 800 undergraduate, 600 graduate students. So clearly, COVID-19 did not dampen enthusiasm either for the University of Cincinnati or for CCM. I imagine it's true in your life as well. At CCM, we're doing things differently this year in an effort to protect the health and safety of our students and our faculty and our staff. For the first time in CCM's 153-year history, this year we're offering CCM students, including our choral conductors, a carefully balanced blend of online, face-to-face, and hybrid instruction. Any courses that you would have taken in the history of, the theory of, all of those are being offered online. That's about 75% of CCM's curriculum, all being offered online. We are continuing to do ensembles face-to-face. So chamber choir is meeting face-to-face, chorale is meeting face-to-face, Philharmonia, concert orchestra, all meeting face-to-face, but socially distanced. If you look at the Philharmonia orchestra on stage, all of the players are 10 feet apart. There's no more sharing of stands. You have your own stand. You have your own part. If you're a wind or brass player, you're in a little plexiglass cube so that you don't contaminate the people around you and you protect yourself as well. I've been really impressed by the creativity and the ingenuity of CCM's faculty and by the willingness of our students to find ways to make things work. We are still performing at CCM. We are simply not performing before live audiences. We are making recordings, we're doing other things, but we're not inviting people into the halls. We hope that will change soon. But in the interim, we're really committed to the idea that we're not adjusting to the new normal at CCM. We are pursuing the new excellent among leading American conservatories. We want CCM to be a model for the professional worlds into which our graduates will live and work. And as part of that commitment, we're moving aggressively to make CCM a truly diverse, equitable, and inclusive place to teach and learn. We're working to further diversify CCM's faculty and staff. We're working to further diversify CCM's student population, and we're working to change CCM's culture and the daily lived experience of everyone in the CCM community. We've heard loudly from our alumni that we've not done a very good job at attending to diversity and equity and inclusion at CCM. And you have my commitment as dean and the work of our faculty to know that we're going to change that. I hope you'll know that the choral tradition in which you and I were trained, that fierce commitment to excellence that was instilled in us at CCM, is alive and well. Earl Rivers, COVID prevented us from saying this in the spring in the way that we wanted to, but from all of us, from all of these CCM alums who are gathered on this Zoom call tonight, thank you for 46 incredible years of leadership and artistry. And thank you for the guidance and friendship that you have shown so many of us over decades. We will miss you at CCM. We love you, and we simply wanted to say thank you. Earl,
Thank you.
here's to you. And Joe Miller, welcome back home. We're glad that you're back at CCM, that you've joined our colleague Brett Scott in leading CCM forward. We are very excited about what you and Brett are going to be doing in the years to come. We think the future is very, very bright for CCM's choral program. So I hope all of you, as my fellow alums, will join me in not only supporting the choral program, excuse me, financially, but in recommending students and saying, you know, CCM is the place that you want to go to learn your craft and to perfect your art as a choral conductor. So thank you all for being a part of this evening's session. Thank you for continuing to support CCM, and please stay in touch with us. Earl, over to you.
Oh, thank you. And thank you all for your nice accolades. I've recently retired legally August the 15th, and I'm enjoying retirement. I'm taking a Shakespeare class. I'm running well. I'm about to take a French class, but I can't tell you how much I miss the students. I miss walking into chamber choir. I miss teaching conducting. And I miss all of you who I had the opportunity to spend 2, 3, 4, 20 years with. just love that thing. And as I look around the room, I have 3 screens. I think Robert Meff and Rob Natter win the prize for where I want to be tonight, in the mountains or on the beach. I also want to thank Johnny Koo, who's with us from Taiwan. And Johnny, congratulations to you. He's one of our newest DMA alumni of the choral program. And there are others amongst you. I'm going to kind of give you a retrospective. I've actually worked on it like a lecture today to make sure I don't miss some of the major events. You may have seen on the screen that Dr. Philip Crabtree is with us tonight. And many of you would have taken in the 70s and 80s team taught survey correlate with Elmer Thomas and Phil. And then when I moved out of puppy stage and started teaching correlate, Phil and I team taught for years. And Phil allowed that he was the first DMA choral major. However, he went to the dark side and did musicology. And so he wasn't the first DMA choral graduate. Phil, we're glad you're here, and please fill in the blanks tonight if you could. So that our DMA program got started in the late 60s. I think Elmer came to CCM in 1966, brought John Lehman here in 69. I was in the Army touring with the Army Chorus and met Joe Flummerfeld at the University of Florida or Tallahassee, who said, you ought to go get your DMA at CCM because Elmer Thomas is there. So I said, who's Elmer Thomas? I'm going back to IU. So Cincinnati was home. So I stopped by here on Christmas break and met Elmer. Then I heard like a dress rehearsal of the St. Matthew. I thought, I'm going to study here. And boy, am I glad I made that decision. And all of you who got to know Elmer know why we were all glad we had those years. Matthew Swansel will be joining us later. He's in a May Festival rehearsal, but Matthew is the last of this generation of students who knew Elmer. Can you imagine being at CCM in the last 3 or 4 years and this generation of students know him in name only, and they know John in name only? And that's really tough for me because so often I wanted to say, Elmer would have done this or John would have said that. So the DMA got started in the late 60s when everything coalesced at CCM. They actually moved to the facilities. And some of you have been back to see what we've produced actually 25 years ago when we moved into the Dieterle Vocal Arts Center in December of 1994, and the entire complex was transformed. Our performance facilities and teaching facilities rival anything in the world. And to be there, I just pinch myself to have had those years in such a beautiful, supportive space. Some other great things that happened for those of you who were there in the 70s, if you remember those old May Festival days when all of us sang with May Festival, it was just like a third choir. And I think what we learned from those experiences, especially me when I started, when I left that puppy stage and taught Servet Correlate, I thought, you know, I've sung the War Requiem with Julius Hurdell, and I've done Tannhauser with James Levine, and Lohengrin with James Levine, and yada yada with Thomas Shippers. And we were here when Thomas Shippers arrived and did a Verdi Requiem, and all of us sang. Those are just incredible. And of course, Robert Shaw, how would I forget him, who was here every year. So that May Festival Association really was an anchor for the program. And many of you who have not been here in the last 8 years might not be aware of the May Festival Fellowship given by a very generous donor. It's a $10,000 award that comes every year to one of our new DMAs. We're now in the 8th year with our first minority fellowship winner, Harry, and help me with his last name, Joe. Harry, I can't say his last name.
Cecil, Harry Cecil.
Thank you, forgive me. But I see some of the May Festival Fellowship winners here. I see Marie on the screen. I know Matthew's joining us, Dan Parsley's here, and many of them are working or have rehearsals tonight. Some of you were here in the years when Elmer started the Vocal Arts Ensemble. That was 1979. And David Kirkendall, I see, is amongst us. And David was the original accompanist, who he'd also accompanied for the chamber choir. I attended, like all of us went to all the performances, and some of you who could sing actually got to sing with that professional choir. Jan Rogers is visiting us tonight. Jan was one of those singers. She's now become one of our lead donors and supporters of the choral program. But Elmer carried that on for 9 years. So those of you who got to be in that ensemble learned a whole level of artistry that was not in Cincinnati prior to the vocal arts. Those were the days when there were only 3 professional choruses in Ohio. There was a chorus in Cleveland. Help me, Robert Page. And Maurice Casey had Cantari in Columbus. And the 3 of them were highly competitive. And I got involved with vocal arts about that time and learned a lot about those. But VAE not only did their own independent things, they sang with May Festival every year, often with Conlon, often with Robert Shaw. And when I was able to, I had the good fortune to take over VAE in 1988, which I had for 20 years, we started a partnership with the Cincinnati Chamber Orchestra, and many of you on the screen got to sing in those concerts. Here was yet another opportunity to do that chamber literature at a very high level. VAE has taken a new direction with Craig Hella Johnson for the last 4 years, and some of our own choral majors who are singers are singing with that ensemble. And I must say that's yet one more recruitment tool for CCM to say, look, you come to Cincinnati, you might get to sing with this nationally level ranked ensemble. ACDA. Some of you would have sung in one of the 3 national appearances. I believe Elmer took a St. Matthew to Tennessee in 1983. I was on my first sabbatical learning Deutsch. And I took some of you to Dallas in 2001 for the Handel Dixie Dominus. And we did at least 9 regionals. So some of you would have sung with chamber choir or somebody in Chicago or, oh my goodness, there's David Wilcox, or in many of the cities in the region. There's been an ACDA conducting competition for several years, and some of you may know that in the last 4 national conventions, 5 DMA and MM choral majors have ascended to the finals and became placed very highly in 2nd and 3rd place. And some of you, I think, are here. I see Marie, I see Jimin Seo, Min Hei, who's in Korea, cannot be with us tonight. Trevor Krieger should be joining us or is with us, and Dad Parsley. Congratulations to Omin. Hey, you're here from Korea.
Yes, I'm here.
What are you having for breakfast?
I didn't.
Oh, I hope it's not kimchi. No, I hope it's just a good cup of coffee. Oh, there's Elmer in the DVAC room. How wonderful. So some of you would have been the many summer workshops that we did in the 1980s and 1990s. And I credit Elmer for being the catalyst. I think the first person we brought was Tom Hilbish, the late Tom Hilbish, who founded the program at the University of Michigan. And no other choral program in the country would do a week of Stravinsky. You know, one day was the Canticles and one day was Les Noces. I think that's what all inspired many of us to make Les Noces one of our hip pocket pieces. And then we brought in the great artists like David Wilcox, Stephen Cleobury, George Guest, Stephen Darlington, who I visited in London last year, and Dale Warland, who's been back many times. So I'm hoping that Joe and Brett will bring those back. Some other hallmarks of our program was just the sheer amount of choral repertory we could do. And those of you who studied with Terry Marai, Gerhard Samuel, more recently with Annunziata Tamaro, Kai Pung or Mark Gibson, you had an orchestral experience like no one got anywhere else. I today don't know a program where the orchestral department has embraced the choral studies department and given them opportunities for mentoring, for conducting, for productions. Some of our other assets are the Dale Warland Singers Library and Archives. That library, which is a learning library, which you could all tap into, just email Joe or Brett, has 1,170 titles, 270 of which are commissions, and 40 copies of each work. Can you imagine having that as your resource for teaching and for your students? It's just fabulous. Dale was back this past January. We actually had a Knox commission and he taught master classes for 2 or 3 days. A couple of years ago, he was here for CCM's 125th anniversary and he wrote a piece for us. There's Dale with a bunch of you, another generation. So let me recap the very last 10 years. For those of you who have not been here, we moved to semesters and that was painful. And I have told any of my recent students, if you're getting a new job and they say, oh, we're moving to semesters, say, I don't want this job. I'll come back in 5 years. It was absolutely painful. However, we completely revised the choral program. We didn't let go of the great things like conducting, survey of choral literature, but we added voice diction with the voice faculty, voice pedagogy with the voice faculty, new cognates. We now have a very serious cognate in historic performance, historical performance, and in sacred music. Other great things that have happened, Stanley, through the Dean's Office, has begun to provide funding for our students to do international travel with the faculty. And Molly Getzinger, who is amongst us, and Molly is one of our recent DMA alumni, who was also a Westminster student back in the Joe days. Molly got to go to Portugal last 2 summers ago with Brett, and Dan Parsley was scheduled to go with me to Korea in May for the B minor mass, but of course COVID did away with that, and I'm hoping we can resurrect that. Stanley, thank you for initiating that. That's really an extraordinary program that no one else can match. Lastly, we've tapped into a foundation from a Knox couple, Verona and Willard Crane, who gave money in my name. And we're getting several $1,000s each year, which we apply for, which has enabled us to do out-of-the-box projects. For example, we can do a Monteverdi Vespers and bring in the really big kids, the real Teorbos from the coasts or from Italy, the top string players who are playing at the highest professional levels. We've also been able to do staged productions with our CCM Opera Department of the St. Matthew, the St. John. We've done 2 each of those. And these funds have supported those kinds of out-of-the-box projects, which is include and Onager Joan of Arc, things which are clearly out of the box, and bringing in people like Philip Glass to do his 5th Symphony. So I hope I've just given you an overview of some of the extraordinary things which many of you experience, but some of you may not know about. And I think things are going to get any better, even better. So thank you for giving me a few minutes to share these things with you, which I've cherished and shared apart with many of you on the screen.
Thanks, Earl. Hi, everyone. How did this happen? I don't know. Can you all hear me? Yeah. It is the most surreal experience to walk back to CCM in this position. You know, you've lived long enough and you just know that there's no way that you can tell what's going to happen in life. And from the moment I step back to the door, I feel peace, I feel love, and I feel at home. So I come back and Earl has, as you all know, paved the way in the most beautiful way. You know, every file is in place, everything that I need is all there. And you know, he is filling my inbox every day, and I just love it, you know. And I'm trying to get him to come back and teach as soon as I can make him. He's trying to stay away right now, but I'm gonna solve that. And then I walk back in and I have Stanley as being dean. And so I have a choral person that understands our world. And when I refer to, you know, some crazy thing that has happened in the past, I talked to him today about getting new choral risers, because the choral risers that we have are the same ones that Edie Copley, you had when you were at CCM. And all of our DNA is on it. So I have a big fundraiser. When we get rid of those risers, we're going to cut them up and we're going to auction the pieces off, because all of our DNA are on those risers. You all know that. So it is amazing. And then I walk through the door also, and I'm greeted so beautifully by Brett. And I'm so looking forward to being his colleague and building a program. He asked me one time, what are you going to do with your program? And I went, oh no, not my program, our program, and all of yours. It's really humbling to look out. I know you all feel like I do. Rob Neff, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in forever. I just want to catch up. I mean, it's really, really terrific. I know we have other things we need to do. I'll talk a little more later in the evening, but I am just, gosh, I'm so excited and happy to be here.
I made a serious omission. If I could have one more minute, please forgive me. I forgot to put in my list. Many of you might not know that the Cincinnati Children's Choir, which is now the Cincinnati Youth Choir, is in residence at CCM. And we can thank the late Dean Lowry for allowing them to move onto our campus and take our physical spaces. Every Tuesday and Thursday, except for COVID time, those kids in 7 different choirs are rehearsing on Tuesday, Thursday nights. How do we benefit? Many of our majors in the last 20 years have become gophers, pianists, assistant conductors, associate conductors. We're training students at an entirely new level for children's and youth choirs. And they're there for our operas, our major productions. It's just been a wonderful love fest. And Robin, I want to thank you. I'm sure you're here. I want to thank you so much for all those gifts.
Perfect. Thank you, Earl. All right, so we are entering into the breakout phase portion of the evening. I have everyone sorted into groups. If I press the button and you do not go into a group, it's because I either can't tell by your name or I didn't have you on the original list. It's actually a very small list. You guys did very good. You helped me out immensely, so thank you. So we will do this for 15 minutes-ish. If for some reason I put you in the wrong room, you should be able to type back to home base to me somehow to let me know, and I'll retrieve you. So I'm going to open the rooms now. Enjoy, and we will see you soon. Welcome back, everyone. So nice to see your smiling faces again. We do have all the breakout room stuff is saved. So if we want to go back out, you know, at 9 and y'all can stay in as late as you want. But now I will pass it over to Joe and Brett, I believe. I'm gonna mute.
Well, this is again really overwhelming, and I'm so honored. I thought maybe we could talk a minute about now the future of the program. You know, you look at our alumni list, and there's a richness about it. And the thing that I also like about looking at our grad alumni list is it's not one thing. Many of our lives have taken different paths. Some of us into music, some of us not. Some of us into being very active, and some of you probably have spent your life balancing, putting your family first and doing that. But as you know, it all goes in different ways. So what I want to try to do is to continue to be a program. I want us to be a program that is about serving each other. And that's going to be number one in what I try to do. We're going to be a program of service. We're going to try to train each other, and we need your help to do it, but we're going to try to train people to serve other people. And the fact that we're going to do that through music is the best way to do it. But in my mind, that's always going to be what we're doing. You know, grad students come into conducting. You all think about your own time when you came in to the program. I mean, I was a little kid from East Tennessee. I wore shoes on my first day of class. But we all came in with such different things. But in order to meet the needs of the 21st century, in order to meet the world post-COVID, we have to have people that are willing to serve other people. And that's going to be at the basis of what I do. So the character that we build and that we look for in our students, to me, has to be at the very top. The other thing that I'm so grateful for that I want to make sure we don't change is the incredible deep roots that we have all gotten from our program. Whether you studied there with, you know, when it was just Elmer, or Elmer, John, and Earl, or whether it was with Brett and Earl, it doesn't matter. We have this kind of richness. I'll never forget my first time standing on the Carnegie Hall stage, which was doing a concert with the Lucerne Festival Orchestra, and Pierre Boulez was conducting. And I was terrified. I was just terrified of being around Pierre Boulez. But there was one thing that I knew that I was never shaken about, and that was the training that I had had and the deep roots that I could attribute directly to CCM. And it's those roots that just allowed me to stand and be myself and to make music at whatever level that was. And training people to have those incredibly deep roots, whether that's knowing the repertoire backward or forward, or every class that you ever took with Seamus O'Reilly, where you knew every piece that William Byrd had ever written. All of that, just accumulation of knowledge. And we talked about it in the breakout rooms today. The success of our program has been by its leadership, but it's also been by its students. And I look around at the people that I learned from. We were just, my friend Dirk Garner was just saying it, and it is you that I've learned from. It is. And even those of you, I'm standing here looking at even some of my former students that have gone through the program or are still in the program, that I'm still learning from them, and my kind of depth of love for them is, I'm inspired to bring that and to continue to kind of build these deep roots. I want us to be a program of innovation. I want us to be a program of excellence. But I hope that goes, I mean, that's who we are, and that I definitely am going to do that. But I think that people have to be at the center of what we're doing, and that's what I want to try to do. And it's one of the things that I love about working, that I know that I already do, but I know I'm going to love about working with Stanley and with Brett. And I'm going to turn it over to Brett for a moment and let him talk about the future and what he's thinking.
Okay, I'm really excited. echo what Joe was saying about the deep roots. I mean, I came to this program from rural Manitoba, came down to the US to start my DMA here. I've been here ever since. And this being at this institution has shaped who I am as a musician and as a teacher. And I'm so proud to continue the legacy that has been established by my teachers. And I look forward to continuing that. I hope that we will train the next generation of leaders and innovators as well, people who are going to make a difference to our profession, no matter where they go. If they go into academia, if they become entrepreneurs and do community choirs or church choirs or professional courses as well. Because teaching is really the core of what we do here, teaching and shaping and encouraging people to go out and make a difference as well. So I'm just really excited. I'm so happy that Joe is here, and I just look forward to continuing the legacy and building upon it as we go forward. I need to stop talking now. I'm going to start crying probably, so I'm just going to stop.
Everybody, the statue of Pan is still there if you're wondering. I was wondering. It's still there. It's around the corner, but it's still there. Earl, do you want to say something?
Steve Malloy just joined us. He had a rehearsal. Steve's a recent master's graduate with the Cincinnati Men's Chorus. Steve, I saw we just admitted you. We want to say hello to you and welcome you.
Thank you. Good to be here. Sorry I'm so late.
Everyone, Brett and I and Stanley and our whole team and Earl, we're going to need your help. Certainly we need your help. We need your help just about continuing to talk and share your gifts about what you received at CCM. We need your financial support as well. I talked about those risers that are still there. I'm not kidding. They're still there. And one of the things, I mean, we're going to be putting forth lots of amazing new initiatives about stage choral works and commissions and touring and things like that. And all of that comes with us needing your support. So, and I cannot wait till we have some actual live reunion time where we can, I just want to hug your neck. And Rob Meff, I still thought that you were in New York. So I'm happy to know you're now. And I know we all feel that. It's just like, oh my gosh, you and you and you and you. So I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of you being here. And thanks to all of you that led the breakout sessions. What a tour de force of leadership. Thank you. Jamie?
That's all I've got, everyone. I mean, if we want to, do you guys want me to reopen the breakout rooms? And yes, thumbs up all around. Because we can do that. Okay, I'm seeing this and this, so I'm going to take that as yes. I will still be around, so if you want to mix and mingle, feel free to pop back to the main room, and I'm happy to move you around. But otherwise, thank you so much, gosh, for being here. We hope that you'll stay connected in any way that feels right to you. If there was, like, if you got an email from Earl and you didn't hear from me and you want to make sure you hear about this kind of stuff in the future, please reach out so I know to update your preferences so that we have your right email address on file. A lot of that has been done thanks to Earl and Joe and Brett and the work of the team, really making sure that we have the right ways to get in touch with you guys. So stay tuned for more stuff like this in the future. This was great. Thanks for giving me a glimpse into your world, and I'll reopen the breakout rooms.
Can I just say one more thing, Jamie, before you do?
Yeah, of course.
Everyone, we're going to try to communicate with you on a regular basis digitally. So making sure that we have the email address that you want. And I wish you would just send it to me. So you can send it to Jamie, or you can send it to me or to Earl, because we're just trying to make sure we have it and accurate. The other thing we're going to be doing is we're starting a series of podcasts and of alumni podcasts. We just recorded one with Dick Sparks. It will go up and we'll start to do those. So for a lot of you, I'm going to be reaching out to you and hoping that you'll do a little podcast with us as well. So please send us your email, the one that you want us to be communicating, and we'll start doing that on a regular basis.
Before you go, welcome Carlos Brown, who just joined us. Carlos is one of our recent DMA graduates, employed. Carlos, welcome.
Good evening. How are you all doing? Thank you, Dr. Rivers. It's good to see all of you.
Great to have you tonight.
All right, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Stick around as long as you'd like. We'll talk soon. Frederick,